Hey you guys, welcome back. Alright, I know. Last week I told you that I was gonna try and do another one of these draw this again things. But this week, Nintendo Direct happened. Okay, technically it was last week, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit late on this video. But anyway, we're gonna pretend it was last week because that's when I recorded this. So, Nintendo Direct happened. And not just any Nintendo Direct, mind you, but the Pokemon specific Nintendo Direct. And we got introduced to our 3 new starters for Generation 8. Naturally, my first impulse was to try and draw them, and I'm not gonna lie, okay, I was a little bit disappointed because normally you can't always identify all 3 of the animals that the starter Pokemon are based off of. But it is what it is, and that more or less made my job easier anyway. Let's be honest, the fire starters almost always look the coolest. I'm just kidding. But if you like the water starters or the grass starters, I understand. But I love my fire starters. But as I was saying, watching the Nintendo Direct based around Pokemon made me really want to draw these guys. So that's what I'm actually going to do this week. We have my favorite of the 3, the Fire Bunny, Score Bunny. Score Bunny? Score Bunny. Huh. On the left, we have my second favorite, which this is usually how it goes. I tend to like the fire types and then grass, and then I'm not a big fan of water types. On the left, though, we have Grookey, the grass monkey. And on the right, what I originally thought was a tadpole, but turns out is probably more like a chameleon. That's Sobble, which is just a depressing name to say. So I'm going to discuss a few rumors and theories and stuff that people have here too. From what I'm hearing, people think that this is going to be a generation based in someplace like the UK, and it might have like a sports motif actually, which is going to be new. And of course, if you're talking about sports, then it's pretty obvious what the fleet-footed fire-type bunny is probably trying to be. If you guessed anything but soccer, you may be wrong. Oh wait, most people call it football, but I'm American. I know you could not possibly tell based on my accent, but I'm American, so I call it soccer. The next theory is that Grookey, the grass monkey, is probably based around a baseball or a cricket player, because in the trailer he taps a rock with the little stick in his hair. In his leaves. And so people are thinking that it's kind of like when either a cricket player or a baseball player steps up to bat and taps the base with the bat. Not to mention, cricket and soccer, or football, are both really popular sports in the UK, but so is the sport that Sobble is theoretically based on, which is water polo. I don't know how big of a deal it is in the UK, but it originated there. Anyway, now that you have a bit of information on the actual Pokemon, I want to talk about the drawing. So I wanted to go a little more artsy-fartsy with this one. I'm focusing a ton on my inking and the line weights. You can see I'm not using my typical Micron pen, I'm actually using my Faber-Castell. And I wanted to keep this simple. I didn't want to do any cross-hatching or even necessarily my cell shading. I wanted to incorporate the colors that people typically associate with the fire type, water type, and grass type, and shade using only those and nothing else, which, as it turns out, drove me friggin' crazy. Because until I have successfully filled every square millimeter of space with color on a character, my job is not complete. So this was a good exercise in patience and in just learning to leave it alone. I kind of like the final result. I think there's some art lean. I struggle with art lean from time to time. I am trying to get better, and I have gotten a lot better than I used to be, but I do believe this struggles with art lean. I'm going to use a bright red to shade my bunny. I am going to use a forest green for my monkey, and I'm going to use a nice deep blue for my chameleon. But before I do any of that, I'm definitely going to wind up doing some nice deep black ink shadows. While I wait for my footage to catch up to me, did anyone really play Sun and Moon? Was I the only one who actually bought it and then didn't really play it? I think I played like 2 hours of it and then I didn't play it again. Pretty sure in Gen 8 they're bringing gyms back, but did you like not having gyms? And also, who is your favorite starter from any generation? I think I really liked Cyndaquil. I loved all of his forms. He was super cool. Actually, you know, now that I think about it, I think I liked Cyndaquil more than I liked the original options of Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle. Another question for you guys. If you watched the Nintendo Direct, what did you think? I'm a 25-year-old woman, but I still love my Pokemon. It's still super nostalgic to me and I grew up with it, so I'm still probably going to wind up buying this once it comes out. What about you guys? Are you guys gonna be getting it? Are you too old for it? Rolling my eyes at you. Or did you never get into Pokemon? And you're just watching this video like, what the heck is she talking about? And by the way, I treasure you all. But for those of you who are actually watching this having no clue what I'm talking about or what I'm drawing and are just watching to support me, You guys are actual angels. Honestly, I doubt I'd be so into Pokemon if I hadn't grown up with it. I still remember that fateful day that my dad told me when I was like 6 years old, Pokemon is just a fad, it'll be gone in a few months. He was so wrong. Okay, segueing gracefully back into my artwork. I'm not sure if you guys were comprehending what I was saying before, but hopefully now you are kind of getting it a little bit more. Another reason I decided to do this selective color thing is because I did do this on my halftone paper, which I love, you know that, but it's not the best at giving me true colors for things. If I want true colors, I need to be working on Bristol board or some other like actual white surface. But then I sacrificed the sacred beauty of my white gel pen, so can't have that. Also, side note, one of the things that freaks me out the most about my art, or art in general, is seeing like the empty eye sockets of things. So what I mean is during my inking phase, before I put any kind of shadow or anything, those tiny little pupil dots are really eerie to me. I'll draw in the iris at the line art stage, but I don't actually wind up creating the eyes for the character until I'm painting them in. And that looks really freaky too. But everything's becoming okay now because I am coloring their eyes, I'm shading them, and now they're not gonna look quite as creepy. By the way, if there's any Pokemon that you guys want to see in my style, because I think my style more or less straddles that line between like the cutesy anime and then kind of a more edgy monstery style, let me know. I love drawing Pokemon. I love reinterpreting them. Alright, well as I finish up my little Grookey on the left, I'm going to start pulling out my beautiful, wonderful, fantastic, magnificent gel pen. Although I gotta say, for things like this, where I had to keep on scribbling and scrawling with my white gel pen in order to get a solid covering, I kept thinking back to this video I saw by Super Ray Dizzle where she recommends how to save money, live better as an artiste. And I was just thinking the entire time that I was scribbling with this little tiny pen how useful it would be if I had one of those gigantic correction pens. You know, thinking back, I'm not so sure that I've actually done anything on this channel with characters whose eyes are this big, but I love drawing eyes, and I love drawing the reflections and the light in eyes as well. I did think of going back over the white with a lighter version of each of the characters' colors, but I decided against it because it would have done nothing but harm the contrast I've got going on between the blue, red, and green. And then, as I finished this, I thought that there was kind of just something missing, I don't know what. So naturally, I decided to put in this kind of starburst effect behind each of them, and I actually think it turned out pretty well. Again, I did think of detailing those specific starbursts. For example, giving Grookey a plume of leaves behind him, turning the red bloom in the back of Scorbunny into fire, creating reflections for the water behind Sobble, but I decided against it because, again, I was trying to aim for simplicity on this. Not so sure this is something I want to necessarily do again, unless you guys really like it, because it was a bit of a challenge and definitely not in my typical repertoire. But either way, I sincerely hope that you guys enjoyed it. This is the final version. Please remember to subscribe, like, hit that bell icon so that you're notified whenever I upload. Feel free to check me out on Etsy, Instagram, or Facebook, all of which are listed below. And thank you guys so much for joining me. Till next time.